Trying again. Other stream died. Big fucking surprise. So I took a break and stuff. It's daytime again. If I don't get what I need and I keep streaming, I will basically do raids between the hunt, basically. Oh, raids between the sandwiches. Gives me an excuse to raid grind anyway. Yeah, I could Staraptor. It's just a matter of. He just spots about like that other tower. Just get a few to spawn in, see if you see a shiny. I'll only do raids between some stuff if I need to, if I get what I need. I can end off and I can change the title. I only have the raid and the title on Twitch at the very least to explain what I'm doing in case I end up doing that. Raid grinding between sandwiches to stall some time. Yeah, this spot's pretty good, I get it. The other tower was fine enough though, but like I can get a lot right here. Not the hardest hunt, these just spawn during the day, so it's just a matter of running circles, do this, hope I get what I need. It's a decent shiny to spot, to pay decently close attention because that like red plumage will be blue on the shiny and their feather colors are a little bit darker. also have a fan running in here because we're in the middle of heat, but starting to drop off tonight, which is good. I started the fan because I was kind of sweaty earlier. Doing some recordings and streams with that fan. Thing's not too loud, honestly. Like, could be worse, and that at least keeps a flow of air. Even if the room gets hot, the fan is at least a cold section of air. Because I don't like running the air conditioner when we're streaming or doing YouTube recordings. So that fan's a pretty good compromise, because that fan, if it's aimed at the chair, it's pretty cool in the fan, you know, lineup. Even if the room temperature increases, the fan is at least a zone that's not horrible. Then after streaming and everything, that's when we can fire the air conditioner back up, or after YouTube recordings. I just don't like the noise. The fan I can compromise with. Even on streams, that fan on low is not that loud. Yeah, and with the fan, because I was kind of sweaty earlier, I feel way better. That the temperature outside was dropping a little bit. So. This is better. I will probably just have the fan and a bunch of YouTube recordings and stuff. We live in Georgia State. There's been a heat wave here. It's also getting to that good summertime in the South. Sometimes, if we have the room cold long enough and I do a short recording, I don't need the fan. But it's getting that time where, like, I need to start putting my, foot down and saying, fuck it, we are running the fan during YouTube stuff. At the very least, I have a little bit of, cooler air. That's what the fan can help with, at least a little cool zone before we fire the air conditioner back up. Just cut it off in recordings, because that thing is loud. Fan I can deal with. That air conditioner, when it's running, is really loud. I don't want that as background noise. I could do that, but that thing is not quiet. The fan's at least quiet enough. I can compromise with the fan. So, no, it's a little loud, but if we're not doing that, especially during a heat wave, we wouldn't be streaming or recording without some serious problems unless it was something incredibly short where I knew it was cold enough in here and I could get away with doing something for maybe an hour or two without the fan. Because the temperature in the room was cold enough. At least at night when the sun goes down, the temperature in here can sometimes be okay. What we about to say? This hunt shouldn't be the hardest thing. The only issue is the time. Now, because of the spawn radius right here being pretty big, if I do reset a bunch of pigments, I could probably get what I'm looking for in a reasonable time. Just need to pay attention to some of those others as well. Okay. Yeah, at least I'm getting a decent amount of spawns up here. That's cool. Just for variety, because it's one of the new Mega Evolutions, I just thought it would be kind of fun to mess with. It's the Staraptor. I mean, there are ways to check the Staraptor, and like, I just find the whole thing funny of people saying the Staraptor was kind of lame because, oh, it's just contrary. It's like, that's not new or exciting. And I said at the time, it's like, yeah, except this is contrary on a Pokemon with close combat, and it gets stabbed on close combat. And Staraptor is naturally surprisingly bulky, like, for what it's worth. And because of how close combat works, you can actually give up some power and make yourself pretty damn bulky, and Staraptor is hard to just straight out KO. Especially with bulk. Because you can run a bulky set. There's like 2 ways to mess with the Staraptor. Both of which are pretty valid for the Mega. You give up some speed and attack for bulk. Because you're naturally pretty strong with minimum investments. And if you become really bulky, it doesn't matter if you're missing KOs. Because you're basically doing... wording this kind of weird. Doesn't matter if you're missing KOs when you invest in bulk. Because you're basically becoming bulky. Missing some KOs doesn't fully matter when a lot of Pokemon are going to have trouble breaking through the Staraptor. And once the Staraptor is decently bulky, even with minimum investment, you can hit pretty hard. If you support the Staraptor, as a lot of people were doing, you can start boosting your attack and stuff through a doubles partner. And when you start boosting your attack from a partner in doubles, the minimum investment doesn't matter as much because you're gaining attack. And when you're really bulky, you do live... Oh, wait. That's a shiny. Get back down here, you jackass! Damn it. Damn it, damn it. There's a shiny right there! I can target it! See if it's marked or not. It is not marked, but I'll catch it. Because it's also not sized. Thinking about dive ball, because this one's not super important. Catch this thing in a straight ball. Johnny's pretty easy to spot. Come on, Static. Oh, I got Thunder Wave. But, like, basically, to finish my little ramble there, because I can tell it's not marked or anything. I just want to catch it, because if I get an extra shiny in a successful run, that's kind of cool. And it's not sized. Yeah, it doesn't have any. Anyway, like, what I was trying to say with the Staraptor, because I got, like, halfway through my point there. I am halfway used to this spot, because I get slightly more spawns here. Staraptor, basically, if you have bulk over power, a bulky Staraptor can live a bunch of hits because you can basically run Roost. If you have bulk, even if you're not picking up KOs, few Pokemon can break through the Staraptor. So you can run a bulky set. And I wanted to invest more in bulk, but... Alright. Notice OBS was being a bit stupid, it's fine though. I wanted to do the invest more in bulk, but because your natural bulk is really good, you can basically take a Mega Staraptor and invest in a lot more speed and attack. Because even uninvested, you're going to naturally get pretty bulky on your own. So you can invest a lot more in speed and attack, give up some bulk for power, and you still end up pretty bulky, all things considered. Because you're going to gain bulk as you do damage, because close combat will make you bulkier if you're running close combat as a move. Now it hit night. Yeah, now that it hit night, damn it. Fucking OBS. Yeah, now that it's night. I do want to check, and then I can reset. Because that didn't have the size marks, so I do want to check. Then I'm going to reload, do the raids for like 30-40 minutes. Try to get the Staraptor. I wish they could spawn at night, but this does give me an excuse. Because this shouldn't... Yeah, it's not... Okay. That's cool. Try to get some raids in here. If everything holds up. Because that was an unmarked shiny, but it was pretty easy to find at least. Relatively speaking. If I could hunt at night, it wouldn't be that bad. But hey, some raids in the middle and I can kind of ramble. Hopefully the internet will hold. Basically, I mean, I got that, you know, rambling minute while I'm doing this. Staraptor with Contrary on the Mega, since drops and gains flip, Staraptor with the Mega, close combat makes you bulkier, so you can invest more heavily in bulk, and then you become incredibly hard to take down, or you can invest in slightly less bulk to be faster and stronger. Since your natural bulk is pretty good as it is, and you're going to become decently bulky anyway, but I prefer extreme bulk. Because when you run extreme... Ooh, metal now. I prefer the extreme bulk for that Mega, just because you can build a team around supporting it, and that thing, as it sets up, becomes really hard to break. But if you want to run a Mega Staraptor in a slightly different way, I don't think it's a bad idea to run a lot more attack and speed at the cost of the bulk. Because ideally, you're going to hit harder at that point, but that's why I think the bulky set is really good. Because you can hit a bump where your damage is pretty good. If you do a bulky set, you run Adamant to maximize attack. Even with minimum investment, Adamant is such a good multiplier that you can still hit pretty damn hard as it is. Oh. Damn. I'll talk about the Staraptor while doing some raids. Waiting on the time rollover so I can do hunts, raids, and this is a good excuse to get some raids because I wanted more raids anyway, so I could do other hunts. But the Staraptor is decently fast and it's decently powerful, but bulk-wise, you're decently bulky, so if you invest more in that, you become really hard to take down. But you can sacrifice some slight bulk for a little bit more power and or speed. Since you're naturally pretty bulky as it is, I just think you want some investment in bulk specifically to outpace a few things, because you need to get going, and having some natural bulk lets you get going. And then you become really hard to take down, and you can basically run Staraptor with Roost. And at that point, a Roost set, super useful. And I was repeating it, but if you do give up some bulk for a bit more speed and power, that's not a bad idea. Good as gold, bitch. What I was saying about that Mega Evolution, though, because this just amuses me. People, I feel like we're being a little bit too over dramatic. Because I think it's a good Mega Evolution, but because a few Pokemon can counter that thing, and now a few counters were being used a little bit more, you have tons of people, and this is why I make fun of competitive players a lot, of the, oh, this Pokemon counters the Mega Staraptor. It's a worthless Mega. Oh, anyone who hates Mega Staraptor is just bad at the video game. Just bring this one Pokemon. It counters it. It's so easy. Except, you're building a team to counter the Mega Staraptor, which requires oddly specific nonsense. And I think that speaks to the fact that it's a good fucking Pokemon. It's just a lot of people were worried about that Mega. So people that were worried about it decided to basically build teams to play around Mega Staraptor. So I don't think it's a bad Pokemon. And I think a lot of people ignore the fact that if you need to build sort of an oddly specific team where you're worried that Mega Staraptor is like something that you kind of need to counter, I think it's not a bad Pokemon. Even if countering it is somewhat easy, that means you're still throwing a team together with a Pokemon that more easily counters Mega Staraptor. Because I think that Mega, specifically, is, like, technically easy to counter, but at the same time, countering it means you kind of need to build your team around countering it. And that's the problem. Mega Staraptor becomes such an issue. If you need to build a team to counter Mega Staraptor with one or two specific Pokemon, maybe that Mega is better than you think it is. And it's also one of those do or die Mega Evolutions, because if you're not using the very specific things that check it, Mega Staraptor is kind of obnoxious, honestly. But because people found counters to it, everyone went from 0 to, oh, this Mega is worthless. If you can't beat it, you just suck it to the video game. Except to beat it, you need sort of oddly specific stupid shit. Good as gold, bitch. I'm not saying it's like an unbeatable Mega Evolution. I just hate competitive players because one or two people find counters to something, and all of a sudden anyone is basically like a dumbass for not using a specific counter. But if you kind of need a specific counter, perhaps the Pokemon, you know, is actually pretty good. Oh, fucking shit, I hate the turn order I'll do the heal. When they suppress your ability, you can get hit by crap. But that's only if they suppress your ability and go for a move. So just top everyone off. Trying to do damage. Like we're doing okay. If I could get a Terra charge, I could start actually helping. I just like Goldango as a counter to a bunch of stuff. Since I'm doing the raids to solve some time, I might as well ramble. You know, that's sort of my whole thing. Like, it's a good Mega Evolution. It's just a few Pokemon can help check the Mega Evolution. But the issue of checking the Mega Evolution becomes one person counters it and all of a sudden everyone, oh, this Mega's useless. I would say it's fine. Help you guys in that. I'm at +4, so this should probably blow up the shield. Yep. Nice. We're good. I've talked about this in a bunch of streams, even if I was archiving streams that never got uploaded, just that sort of annoying ass competitive deep thing of Staraptor gets countered by one or two Pokemon and all of a sudden it's like such a dumb Mega Evolution and it's such a waste, and if you can't counter the Staraptor, you're just bad at the video game. But to counter it, you still need oddly specific stupid shit. I'm also just going to say it. The oddly specific stupid